Okay, welcome to this probationer training session for 1+2 languages. This is part one, where we're going to look at getting to grips with teaching languages in primary. So I'm going to start off with a very quick presentation, and I'll share my screen. Let's see if this works. Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so everything from today's training is in this Padlet here, okay? And all the different workshops that we're going to do are noted with the different resources underneath. Normally for our training sessions, we have a pre-event task where we ask you just to have a look at some key documents, just to get you in the swing of thinking about things. We haven't done that for today's session, so I'm just going to start with looking at the big picture for 1+2. So the 1+2 Languages Initiative came in, I don't know, 10 years ago now, and hopefully most schools will be doing a variety of languages. And by last year, 2020, 2021, all schools in Scotland should have been implementing the 1+2 strategy. However, in light of the pandemic, not all schools are there at the moment. So the L2 is the first additional language that learners will be learning from P1 all the way through to P3, to S3, sorry, ideally, and it will ideally be continuous. However, some learners might choose to change their language when they get to secondary school, depending on how things are structured and also if they've reached second level in their primary school. For the L3, this will be done in P5, 6 and 7, and again at some point in S1 to S3. Now, this can be done in a variety of different ways. It can be the same language every year in P5, 6, 7. It can be a menu of languages. It can be a block of language. It can be continuous, and it can also be done through an interdisciplinary project. It's very much up to individual schools to decide how they would like to proceed with that. There's more information on the SILT website if you'd like to read up a bit more. The main idea really is that languages become part and parcel of everyday daily routines in the classroom. And this particularly is key in P1 through to P4, I would say, when children are learning the basics like colours and numbers, greetings, doing an emotional check-in, all of those things which would naturally be things we could use in daily classroom routines. Then when children get a bit older and go into P5, 6 and 7, it might be that schools will opt more for doing a sort of a discrete lesson of French or whatever language they're teaching, for instance, as well as building up with the daily routines. In Highland, our main L2 languages are French or Gaelic. And our L3, we have a plethora of languages, whether that's Gaelic, French, Scots, BSL, Polish, Mandarin, and German. And those are the main languages that we're offering. Okay, some key documentation. I would suggest having a read of this if you haven't already done so in the pre-event task. This document, if you click on the link in the picture in the PowerPoint, it will take you to it. And that really just talks about what language learning should look like from P1 onwards. The main aim is for children to enjoy languages, to have fun, to be active, to be engaged, to be motivated, to learn a bit about the country as well as the language. And this document here is the key expectations of what we expect in each at the end of each year. And it's really useful because it gives us a very quick overview of the key things that children should be able to do, which links in obviously and comes from the experiences and outcomes within CFE. It's worth noting that we now have partial E's and O's for P1, and these are then built on in first and second level. Our core learning teaching resource for French in Highland is Power Language, and every school has its own username and password. And I'll talk about that in a bit more detail later. The resources and the activities that we're going to go through today come predominantly from the Power Language website, and there are resources there for not only for French but for Spanish and German as well. For Gaelic, we use Go Gaelic, and the Highland has produced a series of modules to go with Go Gaelic, and these are on the Northern Alliance Professional Learning Hub site, and you need a Glow login to access them. And both these websites have all the planners that you need, all the key language documents, classroom activities, animations, videos, everything you need. So you don't really need to go anywhere else. Okay, I think that's it. We're going to get started now with some different games and activities. And we're really going to focus on core language. But we're also going to be looking at key activities and focusing on the pedagogy. So it doesn't matter whether it's in French or not. It's the idea of how we teach languages that we want to focus on today.